David is actually talking to our listeners this morning. David Reynolds joins us. He's actually celebrating the 4th of July with his 1976, I mean, basically a bicentennial truck. David, by the way, is the president of the ATHS Three Trails chapter and joins us this morning on the 4th of July. David, tell us about how you maintain that sucker. The truck, not the barbecue grill, because we're kind of obsessed with that too.
Well, I completely restored it back in 2000, 2001. I stripped it down. I took it to Peterbilt, and they painted it for me, but I stripped it plumb down to nothing. And it took them a month to paint it, but I don't drive it that much anymore. So, but it still needs that fiberglass cracks a little bit, so it needs to be restored again. But here lately, I don't hardly drive it much anymore.
I don't blame you, man. I'd be terrified to drive that thing in the way people drive these days, man. I would be absolutely it'd be a sphincter factor of about 11. I'll tell you that right now on a scale of 10. Go ahead.
They only built 41, and there's only about 20 left, so you don't want to
I hate
it out very much.
I hate to ask this question, and if you don't have an answer, it's fine. Given the fact that there are only 20 left, what is the actual value on that? I mean, like I said, I don't want you to brag or set yourself up for theft.
Well,
but I mean, could you fetch
it's what?
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's what anybody's willing to pay, but it's probably up there in the high 70s or 80s, maybe even 90s.
Let me tell you something, guys. If you head on over to the ATHS's Facebook page, if you head over to my Facebook page, if you head over to the Dave Nemo Facebook page, there's a really handsome posting that the American Trucking Historical Society actually put up there that you can see of what that truck looks like. It is a beautiful piece of machinery, and it is definitely a time portal back to 1976. I wanted to ask too, how did you find it? How did you discover it? Where? I mean.
Well,
tell me the story.
I've been looking for a truck for one quite a while, and they just don't come up for sale very often. And back then, I lived in Edwardsville, Kansas, and they had a guy. It was Shelby Elliott, and he always come up with we call them outlaw trucks. The bull hauling rigs, big motors, big bunks. And that was his specialty. He ended up with two of them, and I got the choice of the two. And then after that, they just don't sell very often because there's not that many of them out there, and everybody just hangs on to them.
That would be the kind of. And the thing is too, the people who find those things want those things. I mean, that's the thing. That becomes kind of a holy grail of sorts. And like I said, we've become really obsessed on this show and in a lot of places with 50-year anniversaries. By the way, next year, of course, is 250, America 250. It'll also be the 50th anniversary of that truck, which is a really groovy thing and really well worth celebrating as well too.
I was thinking about when he mentioned that. I was 10 years old in 1976, and he talked about the country embraced that. And I can still remember, I grew up in a rural area, but the county seat was about 10 miles away. That was Anniston, Alabama, and they got deemed to be one of the all-American cities.
Oh, yeah.
And as a 10-year-old kid, you thought, oh, my God, I live in an all-American city. Now, I didn't know they were doing that all over the country. Didn't have the perspective for that at the time. But those signs are still there. I have seen them throughout my career. All over the United States. And we got a big one coming up with 250, as Jimmy Mack said.
David, do you remember the Freedom Train? Do you remember that in 1976?
Yep.
I was thinking about that as well, too, because I don't know what it was. When I looked at your Kenworth truck, I said, man, I don't know, it doesn't look like the Freedom Train, but it reminds me of the whole spirit of 76 and what that was like in 1976 to kind of jump in there. What do you remember about that year? I realize you're a young man, but you must have some memories of 1976, right?
Yeah, I was 22. I was working for Willis Shaw out of Elm Springs, Arkansas.
Great company.
I was just when I turned 21, I went to work for them, and it seemed like everybody was getting it. Every time you turned around, it was bicentennial this, bicentennial that. And I remember a guy, he lived in Mississippi, and he bought a cab over, and And every time, whenever he pulled it in, everyone that truck, they were just, he would show off all the time, but that cab over Kenworth just was like a magnet to people. I said, "Boy, I'd like to have me one of these days." And I ended up with one.
Simple as that, right?
I have a funny story. In 1976, I remember my dad would walk around the house saying, "This country's run by a peanut farmer and the Allman Brothers, and I'm kind of okay with that right now." He would just say that around the house every once in a blue moon.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. When you do take it out, when you do take it to shows and all that stuff, what is the upkeep like? What is it like to get it ready to take it to the shows? What kind of process? And then we got to get to a phone call here in a second. But what is the process like to kind of get it ready?
Well, it takes me a couple of days just cleaning it, but I like to clean it up early of a morning, right at daylight, because it's cool. So when you wash it, the soap don't dry on it. So I just spent all day just kind of cleaning it and prepping it.
All right, we're going to go to the phones here real quick, and then I got a final question for our friend David, who joins us on the 4th of July. And by the way, thank you so much for making time on a day when you got to do a whole bunch of ribs and entertain a whole lot of people. Who do I got on the phone, Madison?
We have Bandit from Texas, and unfortunately, he's a day behind on his shipment that he's.
Oh, Bandit.
He's probably cooking some brisket. That's
He's
why.
probably cooking some brisket. What's going on, Big B? Tell David hello.
Hello, David. Well, I went to pick up a load that I went to pick up a load down here in Fort Worth to take up to Olathe, Kansas, and then grab an Olathe load to bring back to Fort Worth so we could see the fireworks tonight here in Fort Worth. And they overloaded the trailer on the axle and gross, so they had to redo the whole trailer and take product off.
Oh, God. Are you going to see any compensation? Go ahead, David.
Nick, that wasn't a problem. I would just go around the scales and keep on trucking.
1976 is a very different time, ladies and gents. Very different time.
Yeah.
Bandit, how is it going to resolve? How's this going to resolve, man?
Probably going to end up seeing fireworks over in Olathe, Kansas, instead of being down here, because unless I get my hands on a flux capacitor, I ain't making it back down here tonight.
I want to say this, but I have to back off the mic. You guys ready? Marty, you made it! Sorry, I just wanted to get that in there. I'm just very, 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 very pleased about that. A little Back to the Future. Bandit, I'm so sorry about that, dude. Are you going to get any barbecue now? I mean, if you're going to have to see some fireworks in Olathe, is there any barbecue that you can get your hands on, Bandit?
Well, the way I'm coming back out of here goes right past the Cowboy truck stop and the new Truckers Paradise truck stop that they just opened up on 35 off of exit 502. So probably going to stop by the Cowboy truck stop and try to get some barbecue today. But that's on the Oklahoma side of things.
All right. Well, that makes me feel a little bit better. By the way, before I let you go, because I got one more question for David, let me ask you this. Actually, let me tell you something. Don't forget that because of the Stamp Act, America licked Britain. Just wanted to say that. Thank you very much, Bandit. Be safe and be sound out there. Keep us up to date about what's going on, okay? Keep us in the loop.
All right, will do, guys.
Happy
Take
4th.
it easy and have a happy 4th.
David, I wanted in this last few moments that we have with you, and by the way, once again, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for making time on what is a busy day for you to give us some time. Tell us about the Three Trails chapter. Tell us about what you guys are all about over there.
Well, we try to do stuff for the community, and like one of those pictures, well, the people that looks at the pictures, there's one picture with all brand new conventional Bicentennials. That was the factory photo, and they wanted all those trucks built in June because they wanted them at the dealerships on 4th of July to start their celebration. But then you back up a little bit, there's another picture there with my truck and a American Truck Historical flag on there. So a few years back, the Boy Scouts had a jamboree at the racetrack in Kansas City, Kansas. They had 6,000 Boy Scouts that come through the midfield, and they had all kind of stuff for them to do. And some of those Boy Scouts, we had a few trucks there, and they ended up getting their transportation badge.
Yep.
So we do stuff like that.
That's
But
enough.
what impressed me was them 6,000 Boy Scouts, when they fed them lunch, they run through the garages in the pit area, and they fed all them 6,000 kids. And within an hour, and when they got done, there was not one wrapper left. They cleaned that place up. So that was some pretty good boys.
It's
Could
the
Be
eat that
prepared.
quick
They were
and
prepared.
clean up their mess.
by the way, it's the biggest.
They were.
It's the biggest food miracle since the loaves and the fishes. I'll tell you that right now, man. I got to tell you, the idea of that happening today actually makes me really proud. Proud of those boys and proud of everybody involved with that. David, we got to shuffle off this radio coil. I want you to have the happiest of 4th of July's. I want everybody to enjoy what you're cooking. I know they will. ATHS.org. You get the final word, David.
Okay, well, I want to say one more thing about our chapter. I'm a Mason, so we did a benefit. It's a Sonic barbecue cook-off, and a Three Trails chapter put on a little truck show there. But I was a judge, but we raised $45,000 on a Saturday, and all that money went to the vets for the honor flight system. So that's what Three Trails is about.
Good on you.
I'm going to say this right now. I wasn't joking. I said Brad and I have an ongoing thing. Overrated or great American. David Reynolds is a great American. Thank you, David. Best of days to you, my friend.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you got it. And by the way, tell Marty I said hello when you get a chance to talk to him again. David Reynolds, everybody. He is the ATHS Three Trails chapter president, as you heard, a very patriotic American like many of you guys are.